Hello.
Hello.
I'm here with my friend Tiffany Lin, who is also a amazing badass coach for women and people, folks, all the people. And she came over to plan the Femme Rising retreat together that we're doing. She's one of the co-leaders in Bali. And should I tell them why we're talking about permission?
Yes, please. It's a super important theme in our retreat we're planning together, and it's also super important in life. So.
It is. It definitely is. So as we were sitting here talking about permission, I all of a sudden felt this like tenderness come up inside of me. And like one of the things that I know about myself is it's easy for me to be like, go get her, bold, badass. And it is much harder for me to be like soft and tender and gentle. And hi, Juliet. It's so fun to have you here. It's much harder for me to be soft and tender and gentle. And one of the things that Tiffany did is I was like, I feel like I'm 3 right now. She's like, let's be 3 together. And then she just invited out like this soft tenderness and like hugged me and gave me permission for it. And it really impacted me. I was like, oh, a whole new part of me came out.
Yeah, it impacted me too to witness you in tears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is so powerful, the way that we give ourselves permission and the way that we give each other permission to let all these sides out of ourselves. And so I wanted to do a little conversation with Tiffany on it. Okay, so enough about me. I want to talk about Tiffany for a second.
Please.
Please talk about me. One of the things that I think Tiffany is, hi Axel, it's good to see you too. One of the things that I think Tiffany is amazing at is giving permission for all of the messy, rip your heart out and tell the whole world you're fucked up. Like that.
Yeah.
And just like the anger and the grief and the sadness and the tenderness, and she has done a lot of work to like express that herself and to help other people do that.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Thanks for that bit. Yeah. Permission to just be who you are and all parts of you, because all parts of you make the wholeness of you. And I just want to like take that in and receive that. Thank you. I was telling Megan earlier that back in our One Taste days that she's always been the permission for me to be fully unleashed in my own like sexual desire. So it's just like I think we both have that with each other of just providing permission to just be completely liberated and fully expressed, regardless of what's happening externally, but to like really allow our internal state to reflect
externally.
Yeah, to have our insides match our outsides, as we would say.
Yeah, I think, and I love that you said that, because I think that's what permission is. It's like normally we walk around and we've got all these filters up, right? Like, how do I be a poised, put together, perfectly composed human? And I think permission is just I think permission is just like, take this layer off, take that layer off. How do we let ourselves just be seen as who we are? And I know this can be really abstract. So I was like, maybe we just share each an example of what that has looked like in person.
Yes.
Do you want to start?
Permission to be messy. Permission to not know. I'll go with the not knowing, because it feels like I specialize in the transitory spaces, the liminal space, the in-between space of here and now. Not to be too abstract, like currently I am giving myself permission to just be and integrate and embody who I am. In Bali, I canceled my flight, leaving Bali into Oakland.
We're keeping her.
Yeah, there's something around being in this vortex that has me feel like it's important to stay in nature. So yeah, this permission to not know, but to trust and surrender into the moment as it unfolds. Like me and Megan, we didn't know that we were going to meet today in a specific way of doing a Facebook Live until had felt into it this morning. Was that right? And yeah, like noticing that like as we live our fullest authentic truth and our purpose and our like dharmic path, that there doesn't have to necessarily be like a whole, like what do I want to say, that like finding that whisper of desire, like it feels to me like floating above the water, and so to speak.
Right. Concrete.
Permission to be abstract.
No, we have to be grounded humans.
I know. It's good.
It's so good, because the thing Tiffany is saying is like deep and wise.
Yeah.
Can I give an example?
Please give an example.
Okay.
While you ground me.
So one of the examples, I was just on a coaching call with a man, and he admitted that he had these sexual desires, and he had so much shame around them, like so much shame around his desires, like afraid that it would make him a bad partner, a bad brother, a bad like coworker if he had these desires. And as we just like started talking about his fears around these sexual desires, he just started to cry. And I was like, you know that you're still a good man when you have those desires. Like, it does not make you a bad person to have those desires. And it was just bawling. And I was like, I think that's what permission does for us, is it's like, whew, we can just be ourselves. And I know for me, like anytime I am lacking permission, it feels like my chest is tight and I'm like trying to hold something in. And then when I get some permission, it's like, whew, thank God. And so it was really cool just to watch that man kind of work through his mind around his desire and like what he wanted around sex, and be like, it's okay. It's okay. So that's one. I know basically permission's needed anywhere there's like taboo and shadow. So like sexual desires, anger.
Yeah, those lower vibration feelings such as anger, grief, or shame that we keep locked in because that, you know, there's just a feeling to perform that everything is totally okay in your life, or that you've got it all together, when the truth is that everything that you have, it's locked up and stored in your body. And when you don't give yourself permission to allow to feel those feelings completely all the way through, it builds up and it actually stagnates your life force energy. It blocks creativity. It blocks actual pleasure and allowance and magic to flow in your life. So Megan and I were speaking about where are ways that we can allow ourselves permission to just be and not necessarily float off and like completely live into that feminine, wild and free, but to be who we are in a safe container. So in my own realm of embodying myself, my wild, my primal, my free, my tender, my erotic, I've given myself the permission to be that in like the span of an hour and being witnessed in that. Like, so there are a lot of embodiment exercises that I think both of us have been working with, of dancing or screaming in a pillow that rage. Yeah, there's definitely that sense that if there are more spaces and more space holders that can really feel into the depth of the human emotion, the human condition, that more people can access the actual thing that they're trying to avoid and numb out and suppress. And with that, on the other side is just so much more expansion and liberation and the actual real you. So yeah. It's the alternative is to pretend and contort and put masks on to like almost, to pretend you are someone that you're totally not. Yeah. And it's going to come at a tipping point when you realize that you just want to like, take it all away. And this is a great segue for why we're doing this retreat, is to offer women permission to just be themselves, like untamed and unapologetic.
That's right. Unleashed, untamed, unapologetic. And I had one more example about what Tiffany was saying, is like letting those feelings out. Like one of my practices every day is to dance my emotions. And so like if I'm feeling rage or grief or whatever, just like move my body and let those emotions have a place in me too. So it's like I don't have to like tamp them down or pretend they don't exist or ignore it. And I so deeply, I think that's important to both of us, is the integration of our emotions, our intuition, our sexuality. Is like, how do we reclaim all these lost pieces?
Yes.
And become whole.
All those lost pieces that are so important.
So important.
The messy bits, because
all the messy bits.
Yeah.
Yeah. We both have this band on, so it's
Aw.
purpose. That I think is both of our purposes.
Yeah, our purpose is to allow and give permission for people to be ultimately themselves and to find who that is, because it takes a lot of excavation sometimes when you've lived a life for other people performing.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, yeah, and I mentioned we're brainstorming. We're doing a Femme Rising week in Bali in September. I'm so excited. And
dates being September
14th through the 20th.
Yeah.
And
we'll be coming after Burning Man, where we're going to
right after Burning Man.
Permission to fully unleash.
It's true.
Yay.
Yeah, so our retreat that we're brainstorming is in September. And we have 8 amazing women teachers coming, of which Tiffany and I are one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 6 more. And we only have space for 18 people, and we already have a few people signed up. So if you want to go, let us know, and I'll post the link on here. Anything else you want to say about it? Why it matters to us?
Something came up for me in my authentic relating training is a reflection as I was speaking my truth and my heart out and being witnessed with 30 people, was that I need trust and safety in order to actually blossom. So knowing that, like, in this retreat where you have 8 people who've gone and done the inner work and are so freely expressed to be exactly who they are, it's just giving yourself some, like, a solid ground, solid space to fully surrender into uncovering and unraveling those missing parts of you that you're speaking of. And I think that's just makes me light up feeling and thinking and imagining and visualizing all the transformative pieces of all these women who are going to be held and supported by each other and witness each other in their unraveling, whether it be crying or shouting or, like, you know, celebrating. I'm picturing so much ecstasy and so much joy and so much freedom. And of course we're in the magical land of Bali, Mama Bali.
I'm going to show you real quick. This is our view as we're doing this Facebook Live.
Completely held in this vortex.
And I want to say one thing about that, which is, like, it is so important in this journey of permission to be ourselves to have people that see us and back us, because it's like one of the biggest fears with letting our shameful desires out, our emotions out, is, if I let this out, will I be alone? And I know that that is true for, like, almost everyone. And so that's the reason why this is in with other women. There's 18 women participants and 8 teachers, because it's like, you can't do this by yourself. I've tried. It does not work. You literally, like, Tiffany today gave me permission to be tender, and, like, I gave her permission, and, like, you just can't do it alone. So if you want to do it with other women who are all opted in to this amazing journey, that's what this is. I feel like that's a good endpoint.
I think we're complete.
Okay. All right. I love you guys. And my challenge for you is just, like, how can you give yourself more permission today? How can you give other people more permission today?
Literally was just thinking that.
You too?
Yeah, that's a great question. Mull it over.
Like, all right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.
Is it still on?
No. Oh, just as I was going to put my hair up. Oh, my God.